So about a week ago, I made a video talking about why I think that we should reduce ultimate stocks to 2, especially in a competitive setting. But obviously we had no test footage for it, right? It was never really tested in ultimate. So I went into Elite Smash and wanted to try it out for myself. So I changed my rule set to 2 stocks, and while not every match I got was 2 stocks due to the stupid system of preferred rules, here is the actual footage and results that I got from my little experiment. First match that I got was a Sheik Puff match, and as you can already tell, this time was actually less for some reason. I don't know if it's something that automatically gets set at the start of certain matches when there's less stocks, but as you can see, this was set at 5 minutes compared to the normal 7-minute rule set. But something that I did notice already, even in the first match, is that it did feel like both players were playing a little bit sharper, and I think that is something, and you know, it obviously could be placebo effect, but I actually do think that there is some sort of legitimacy to that aspect because you simply have less lives to work with. If you had more lives, say a 3 stock, the first stock is usually spent trying to figure out your opponents, how they're going to play, and you might make some risky moves, right? But if you're at 2 stocks starting the match, you know that any mistake that you make can result in you being at 1 stock and potentially 1 stock away from just losing the match entirely, which means that you have to play a lot sharper, a lot smarter from the very beginning of the game, right? Like I just made that SD there and I'm already down to 1 stock. I can't mess around anymore, so I have to play really clean the rest of the match, otherwise I'm cooked. So after that 1 stock, you know, I kind of locked in a little bit. I started playing a little bit more safe, especially against like a Puff, and this Puff was pretty good. You knew all the Puff stuff. But I already in this match, because typically I think for a match like against a Puff, you would typically see like a camping Puff or Puffs playing a little bit more. This Puff was playing extremely safe. I had to hit that conversion just to get a stock off, but just like that, we've only been a minute and we're already on to the final stock. We're almost 2 minutes into the game and we're already on the final stocks. This is a much faster match compared to the typical 5+ minute match that you could get from 2 campy characters, because you know, Puff matches can go on for a while, especially if the Puff is stalling, but characters like this, even in this matchup, you know, this game is not going to go longer than 3 minutes. So if we were in a best of 2 set, or sorry, best of 3 set, and we, you know, say I won both of the games, you know, this set would not last more than like 9 minutes total, sitting down, setting up, playing the games, and then ending it off. And I got that conversion at the end, and just like that, you know, the match was over, and it felt really competitive the entire time. It was something I noticed instantly after the first match. Now, this was actually a match that I lost, I think, because, you know, I did not know how to, I am not a Bowser Jr. player by any means, so I did not know how to play against a somewhat decent Steve. But I think already from watching this match back beforehand and from what I remember while I was actually playing in the match, what I did notice is that Steve felt a lot more approachable. Obviously, I didn't know Bowser Jr.'s approach options all that well, so in the footage you can obviously see, you know, I'm not getting in all that much. But Steve felt a little bit more normal because he doesn't have those 3 stocks where he can just spin an entire stock camping materials. Like, even if you look at his material bar right here, you can see he only has 1 iron. Typically, Steves will use the first stock to just rack up materials, so they end up having like an iron the entire game, gold on demand, and like a diamond in their back pocket that they can just use for the next stock. But having only 2 stocks forces Steve to play a little bit more aggro, and it means that he can't just sit back and camp materials. Like at this point, the Steve is thoroughly beating me, but his material bar is so low that it allows sort of a comeback to happen if I really need it to. And I think you'll see in a minute, I start to adapt just a little bit, because I think it does also make adapting a little bit harder because you only have a stock to play with, right? So if you make any sort of mistakes, if you don't adapt quick enough, you're just going to lose the match extremely fast. But at this point, Steve hasn't really been mining that much. You know, only a stock to play with. I don't know how that didn't kill there, but I got the kill here. And Steve comes in with, you know, 2 iron, a stone, and a sand block. So there's not much that Steve can do here other than just spam some of his really good moves. And that's going to allow me to kind of get myself back into the game, especially with my aerials. You know, get this juggling going on. And I actually start to adapt a little bit. So even in this matchup against Steve, which, you know, one of the worst characters to play against online, especially Elite Smash, you know, this is Elite Smash Steve here, we're 2 minutes into the game and we're already in a last stock scenario where, you know, we're both playing for our lives here. He's trying to kill me and I'm trying to get the damage to enough to put into kill before he gets that backhand kills me, obviously. But even that match itself was much more enjoyable than playing a Steve 3-stock. If you even look at the match history on here, you can see that the average match history for these 4 that I have all played on 2 stocks, it was like 230, 250. That was the longest one that I went. And if you compare it to some of the older replays that I have, the normal match would stretch out to 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 4 minutes. You know, these are much longer matches, and the more a match drags on, typically in Ultimate, unless it's just pure neutral, which is not Elite Smash whatsoever, the more a match drags on, the more campy and probably not enjoyable it is. This year against a Snake was actually interesting as well, because Snakes do typically try to camp out the stocks. I mean, with 3 stocks to work with, Snakes are going to be grenading a lot more often, but with the 2 stocks, keeping a match close against a Snake is going to make it so that the Snake is forced to approach a little bit more than normal. Obviously, you know, I was playing random characters here at this point, so I am by no means a Robin expertise. You know, I'm not the best Robin player ever, but I do think that, you know, it was interesting trying out certain characters. I also think that if you ever want to try characters, 2-stock is definitely the move, because trying out characters on 2 stocks is much easier than trying it on 3 stocks, because you don't actually have to be like, if I try out a Ken on 3 stocks, you know, I'm gonna realize by stock number 1 that I suck with Ken, and I don't actually want to try him out that much often. But I still got 2 stocks to go, so either I SD and purposely throw the game, I can't end the game quickly, I can't do anything, so I can't make the sort of mistakes that I would want to make, especially if I'm playing a character that I don't normally play, which kind of sucks, but, you know, it is what it is. But at this point, you know, I was kind of moving with Robin, you know, even though I don't normally play him. But at this point, I think I realized this was the 3rd game that I had played 2 stocks, and I had realized that I was already enjoying these matches a lot more than I did normal matches. I felt like all of these matches were a lot more competitive, which is kind of odd, because there definitely have been matches that I've played with 3 stocks that were a lot more competitive, allowed for comebacks and stuff like that. But all of these matches felt more intense, and I think it is because of the risk factor that all of these that we were playing with, is that with 2 stocks, you know, both players really do feel as though they have to value their life a lot more. They can't just throw a game or throw a stock away just because they want to, right? If they make a mistake, they know that, you know, their game is not just their one singular stock with 2 more to back it up, you know, their entire game, and he gets that spike there. That was a good play on him. But at the end, I got spiked there, and it was the first time. Normally I would rage, honestly. That's a stupid spike to get hit by. I actually respected that play, you know. It was last stock, and he went for that. And it makes it a lot more worth it in the end of the day. And you get more of those last stock sort of scenarios, especially on 2 stocks, because you get to the last stock so quickly. So overall, this was obviously an extremely small sample size of matches that I did. But in the 3 matches that I did, and I did more off screen as well, the matches that I played, they all felt more competitive than I had originally thought they would be. I felt engaged more in those matches compared to typical 3-stock matches. The matches felt closer and they felt more engaging, honestly, than a typical 3-stock match. I didn't really disassociate like I typically do during the 3-stock match, during like the 2-stock, where you're just kind of like playing and you're just hitting buttons randomly, right? I actually thought I was thinking throughout the entire match. So overall, based on what my theory was in last week's video, I think I've confirmed it here today, that I really do think that, you know, trying out a tournament with 2 stocks would be interesting, and I think it would be interesting to gauge the reactions, especially of top players, and how they feel playing on 2 stocks, whether they think that's too volatile or whether they think it's perfect, because based on what I played today, I really do think that that could be potential to actually revive some of the engagement in Ultimate. But let me know what you guys think. I want you guys to go on to Elite Smash and actually try this out for yourself, because I think it's really easy to try. Just change your preferred rules to 2 stocks and you're going to get a 2-stock match, and just see how it plays out, because I really do think it can make Elite Smash more fun, and I'll probably be playing Elite Smash on 2 stocks from now on. I just might. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time.